Good afternoon, folks. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. I give you Krull. Krull is a 1983 sci-fi action adventure fantasy movie. I haven't seen this one since probably late 80s maybe. I saw it on home video back in the day. Yeah, Krull is like a fantasy world, swords and swashbuckling and magic and that sort of thing. And then it gets invaded by the Beast. Let me just say, this movie is epic as fuck. Epic fantasy music playing throughout the intro. Great special effects in this, at least for 1983. But they're weird. This whole movie is weird. I mean, we have an antagonist from space rides around in his giant fortress, which flies through space. It's basically like a giant mountain that lands on the planet of Krull and threatens to take over the planet and to rule the planet and kidnap the princess, destroy the armies and whatnot. And the protagonist of this movie, he has to go find a magical weapon, which looks like a starfish with like blades coming out of it. It's called the glaive, which actually looks nothing like an actual glaive, but that's the name that they gave it. Yeah, this is a big budget sci-fi movie. Well, I call it sci-fi because like really fundamentally it's a fantasy movie, but there's like lasers and shit in here and space travel, so sci-fi. For me, this really works. I remember really liking this back in the day, but it didn't do very well at the box office, I guess probably because it had to compete with like Return of the Jedi in 1983. Yeah, there's no denying that they put a lot into this movie. It's just too bad that it didn't succeed. You know, the story, okay, well, the story is pretty contrived, like, noble prince, gonna marry the princess and become the king of the planet, I think. I don't know, they don't establish too much of the backstory in this. He's this, very capable young, like, general, leader, fighter kind of guy, and he and the princess get married at the very beginning, but the wedding is crashed by space invaders, or the minions of the Beast. They're actually called Slayers, these weird-looking, black-suited, stormtroopery guys. Most of the army is decimated, the princess is captured, but our hero is still alive, and he survives to go on the quest to rescue the princess and defeat the Beast and destroy the threat to his world and become a hero. A hero with 1,000 faces, the hero's journey and all that stuff. I mean, that's all played out in here. And it's done pretty well, and yeah, you've seen a lot of these tropes before, but it's the dressings, like the details in here and the visuals that really set it apart from something like, say, I don't know, like Willow or Legend or something like that. So when it comes to fantasy movies, this is actually one of my favorite fantasy movies, at least now. I mean, I hadn't seen it for 35 plus years, and I have a real thing about going back and watching old 80s movies and judging what I think of them now. And this one surprised the hell out of me that I actually enjoyed it as much as I did. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of actors that you'll recognize in here except for one, and that's Liam Neeson, and I believe it's one of his first movie roles. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, he's pretty good, but he's by no means the lead actor. Our lead actor in here, holy crap, this guy is cheesy. His name is Ken Marshall. Reminds me a lot of that annoying dude in The Princess Bride. I hate that movie, by the way. So, of course, he has to go on a magical quest to, retrieve the glaive and use the glaive to fight the Beast. There's really not much more to tell other than, this whole movie is like one set piece to another. Like there's a scene in the swamp where there's like a changeling that's impersonating the ancient seer that they have to go find to give them more clues on their quest as to where to find the Beast and slay him. And then there's, of course, like the opening battle scene where the Slayers all storm the castle, and that's a pretty exciting scene. It reminded me a lot of like old, like swashbuckling pirate or Robin Hood kind of movies, you know, from back in the early days of Hollywood. But of course, much better visuals and lasers. Then there's a whole scene where they meet a Cyclops, a guy that transforms into different animals and stuff, and then they get beset by robbers, one of which is Liam Neeson, and those guys eventually join in on the quest, and all those guys join in on the quest, and you got your adventuring party. Oh, there's a cool scene with what's called the Widow of the Web, who also has a clue as to where to find the beast. They have to go visit the Widow of the Web, and she's guarded by this giant crystal spider, and that's a pretty good scene, you know, some stop motion giant spider action there, and I like that. There's a scene where they're capturing horses, but these are very special horses because these horses can actually fly and they run super quick, and they have to use them on their quest as well, and so it doesn't really ever get boring, or I don't think it did. There's some really kind of trippy, almost psychedelic kind of stuff happening when they show the princess and she's locked away in the beast's fortress. Just really like surreal kind of images in there, but really well made sets and visual effects and optical effects and practical effects. Honestly, I can't understand why this movie only has like a 32 or 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. That baffles me. I mean, I didn't remember it vividly, but I do remember enjoying this one from back in the 80s. I think there were sequels planned for it, but it didn't do very well at the box office. So everybody hates on this movie, and I don't get that at all. I think it's a fun fantasy adventure, well acted, well directed, a visual treat. One thing of note is the Beast himself. He's a kind of a weird looking, I guess a guy in like a reptilian puppety kind of suit. Doesn't look great, but what they do is they kind of hide him and like they blur his image, or they put him like far away and stuff, and you don't see him directly confronting our hero. But the way that they edit it and put it all together, it actually works really well, and it makes it seem more epic than, you know, our hero fighting some dude in a lizard suit. And his minions, the Slayers, they're pretty cool too, but every time they get destroyed, they have like this dome on the top of their helmets or whatever, and every time they get killed, like the dome like explodes and like some brain slug creature or something jumps out and screams. It's like whee! And then escapes. Yeah, and they're walking around shooting lasers all over the place. I guess it's supposed to be beams of magical energy. I don't know, but it looks like lasers. I mean, we got to compete with Star Wars here, people. Come on. And I don't think I have too much more to say about it other than I'm going to go ahead and give Krull a B+. I think it looks great for a movie that's, you know, 39 years old. So if you want to see something exciting, little cheesy, you want to see some weird like fantasy creatures and some beautiful sets, and matte paintings and that sort of thing, and if you want to see the noble prince run around in striped spandex and throw a starfish around, this is the movie for you. So until next time, have a good one, everybody.